More information is coming out daily in the investigation into the deaths of Rob and Michele Reiner.
And there is a lot to look at in this case that's being built against Nick Reiner. Attorney Rachel Fiset is joining us live to break that all down for us. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning.
Yeah, so let's just talk about yesterday. Did anything stand out to you about what happened in court?
Nothing really surprising. The big event there was that he waived his right to a speedy arraignment. So he has the right to hear the charges against him once he's been in custody for 48 hours. And he has the right to enter a plea on those charges. What happened yesterday was his attorney said he was not ready for that arraignment and he will need to return January 7th. It could be that they're contemplating what plea to enter. For instance, some kind of not guilty, perhaps by reason of insanity, or just to enter a plea at that time, likely of not guilty. But I think what we're seeing is there is perhaps not been strong communication with his attorney in making any kind of quick decisions. It's not unusual to waive a fast arraignment, but that is what yesterday's court appearance was.
Rachel, can you explain the charges against Nick Reiner and what the prosecution has to prove to get a conviction?
Yesterday's charges, the charges against him, are 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. And what needs to be proven in a first-degree murder is, other than the actual killings themselves, is that it was premeditated and deliberate and willful. So this is different than an accidental killing or different than a heat of passion killing. The special circumstances that have been levied against him are that there were multiple murders, so that there were 2 murders. And that really elevates his potential sentence to a life sentence or the potential for a death penalty.
Interesting. Okay, so that's on the prosecution side. What about the defense? What strategies could they try to use here?
Well, we haven't seen the evidence, so we don't know just what kind of evidence is against him. If the evidence is very strong and they need to pivot in that he likely committed the acts, then I think they are going to really have to dive into his mental state. I think that's really been an issue. It appears to be at the forefront of really multiple years of his life, his addiction and mental health issues. I think they will likely have him evaluated for psychiatric issues, whether he was insane, meaning did he know the difference between right and wrong when those killings happened, or if there's any mitigating factors just based on his own mental health. So I think there's a lot to unpack that we don't know yet that will go into the defense of this case.
Rachel, on that issue of mental health, what could this case show about how complex addiction and mental health homicide investigations are to handle?
It will be complex. They will have to go back in time to get a complete defense. However, a defendant needs to not know right from wrong. So that is a very high bar. The insanity defense is very hard to show. But as we go back in time, and what his attorneys will be doing is unpacking his mental state, what led to this, and if they can really get any kind of leeway relating to his mental health, even if they can't get all the way to the insanity defense.
Absolutely. Rachel, we always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, and join us on Sunday as CBS News celebrates Reiner's life and work. The 1-hour special, Rob Reiner, Scenes from a Life, will air Sunday night at 8 right here on CBS LA. It will feature fellow Hollywood legends like Kathy Bates, Michael Douglas, and Kiefer Sutherland, along with Reiner's last sit-down interview with Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes. That interview aired back in October.